Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Natural Physique podcast. This is the first episode of a new sort of sub series that I'm doing called Season Wrap Ups. So I just want to get basically like men's physique guests on and just a bit of a recap of their season, especially guys who've done very well. And I think it's fitting to have this guest on for episode one. It's none other than Brad Cocksedge, who did incredibly well this season. Three overall titles and INBA World Title as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and secured my PNBA Pro as well at the
That's
World.
right. What an incredible season you had, and I'm sure we'll get stuck into it all. But yeah, I mean, where do we begin? Like, Brad, if you could just give a bit of an introduction into yourself, maybe give the listeners an idea of how you kind of got into competing and stuff as well, that'd be great.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, Chris. So yeah, it's quite an unreal season. Only second kind of, well, first proper season competing. I competed as a first timer at PCA in 2022,
Right.
um, just to kind of test the waters, see if bodybuilding was something I wanted to kind of pursue, and I kind of got the bug from there. Won the overall at the PCA first timers in my first show. Then I had a 2 year off season. Um, just take my time with things. I was a firm believer in not having to rush these kind of things. So it's a long journey bodybuilding, especially natural bodybuilding. So just taking my time with it, and then yeah, just finished my first full season this year with three shows: the UK DFBA, NBW Classic, which yeah won the overall for that, PCA Naturals, and then the INBA Worlds in the Netherlands, all of which I won the overalls and secured a PNBA Pro Card.
That's
So
unreal. So you're undefeated then, right? So this
essentially,
season,
yeah, which
yeah,
is it's kind of almost my claim to fame at the moment, I guess, would be that I'm yet to be defeated, which is kind of bonkers in itself. So
yeah, I was following along the with the MBW Classic, and I knew like I think since that show's been running, there's always been a standout athlete, and I
mhm.
was just waiting for the standout men's physique athlete to come up this year, and I saw yourself, and I saw your eye walk. I think they put the eye walks on their Instagram, and I was like, yeah, that's the guy. He's going to do very well this
Thank
season.
you, mate.
I went along to the PCA Naturals, and I saw you compete there.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, you looked unbelievable, and it gives me hope because a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, you're quite big for a men's physique athlete," and then I saw someone like yourself competing, like, "Well, this guy's way bigger than me," and it's like I know I've still got room to improve as well when I see someone like you. But you're a guy who's big, but you hold it. You've got a lot of shape as well, which is obviously kind of you've done very well this season as a result of a combination of different things. But yeah, should we have a bit of a rundown of your season, where it all
Yeah.
started at the MBW Classic, like how you felt in the lead up to that show as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I started my season, yeah, with the aim to do the UK FBA NBW Classic. So that was the show that I was prepping for.
Yeah,
Um, so that was the goal. I had the PCA Naturals booked at the same time, as in
right.
I booked them basically both at the same time. But I knew that the MBW Classic was the goal. And ideally, kind of in the back of my mind, I knew that Worlds was also there. That was
Yeah,
kind of that would have been that'd be amazing. But I'm one step at a time. Let's nail that show. So my prep was 16 weeks. Started kind of beginning of Feb, and yeah, just kind of taking the small lessons that I learned from last prep into this one. And for people that don't know, I'm self-coached as well, so just learning from my past mistakes, past kind of knowledge my last prep and just in general, going into this prep, I kind of felt pretty confident in what I knew and just going into it kind of with my head held high and just cracking on. And don't get me wrong, at the start as well, I did have doubts whether I wanted to compete this year. There was parts of me maybe should I just hold off another year, or just because I knew that I was in no rush. It's kind of the burden of me as well, because it
Yeah.
also meant that I wasn't maybe didn't feel like I was running out of time to compete. I knew that the time would come, but part of me knew that this year was, this was the year to start really ramping things up.
Yeah.
So started things in Feb, 16 weeks. Prep went relatively smoothly. Obviously highs and lows at times, but all in all, it went very much to plan. If anything, things were smoother than I could have imagined. Calories did drop below 2,600. Cardio at maximum was like 45 minutes, 4 times a week. Weights weren't dropping much in the gym either. I felt like I had a solid energy as well throughout the day, and meals were pretty satiating. Even though I was burning through them instantly, I was
Yeah.
still satisfied. And just that positive kind of mindset, I think, brought me through prep in just a really kind of good way. So a lot to kind of take home from that. I also kind of introduced a practice peak week, which is something I desperately wanted to try this year, because obviously, the perfect peak week doesn't exist. You can't make or break prep with a peak week, but I wanted to just to try a few things out, and just see what I could do basically within that week. So I prepped, kind of leading up to what I call like a practice show day on that peak week, which is just like a photo shoot, which I organised, just to kind of come in as best as I could, and learn loads with that. Just documenting after every meal, just documenting photos, just how I felt, and just things like that. There's this data which I could look back on, and was super valuable coming into all my shows. So that was my practice peak week, was 3 weeks out from the NBW Classic. And then from then onwards, I kind of felt locked in. I was happy with that look 3 weeks out, and I knew that I could maybe knock off a couple more pounds within that, be a little bit more dialed in. But I knew that I was in a good place after that practice peak week, for the NBW Classic. So that was a strong kind of mindset going into that, which has made me happy for sure. And then 3 weeks later, NBW Classic came in. I think, the lightest throughout prep. After my depletion on the peak week of the NBW, I think it was about 168 pounds.
How much is that in kilos? Just
Uh,
trying to work that in.
I wouldn't know. I'd love to get a pound for everyone that's asked that as well. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really have a figure.
160 must be about 80, maybe like 81 or something, like 80.
Yeah, I think high
Something like that.
81s,
Yeah, yeah.
low 82, something around that way. And I mean, I started prep at 193 pounds. So I dropped about 25 pounds,
Yeah.
throughout
Sounds
prep,
about
for about
right. Yeah.
16 weeks. And yeah. So came in the NBW happy. Felt like I peaked pretty well, but for people that don't know, it was a long day. The NBW Classic,
Yeah.
like men's physique open, wasn't on till I think best part of 9 o'clock at night. So loading was super odd.
Yeah.
Loading for such a late show, especially when you're up that morning at what, like 6:30, because you got that buzz for show day, and you got such a long time to fill up. I actually came in, with quite a lot of like gut distress,
Yeah.
which wasn't ideal. I was blaming the weather because it's raining outside and I had my top coat on, I didn't want to wear my top coat, so I couldn't go outside to just do some walking and
Yeah.
just with that indigestion. Um, that's my excuse, but I know that's is what it is. What you're gonna do. So it was a little bit kind of stressful. But yeah, came into the show and just kind of just left it all on stage, and kind of got the result I wanted and more. So absolutely overwhelmed with that one.
Yeah,
Um,
you looked incredible. I mean, when I saw your reel, I was like, wow, like unbelievable.
Thank you, man.
Did you do all your own posing as well, or did you get a coach or to help you out with
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So yeah, posing again, all myself.
Yeah,
Just kind of like made basically made an edit of all the single poses that I liked and that were strong for me,
yeah,
that I knew was pretty strong for me. So I basically cut loads of clips of um, IFBB men's physique guys hitting these poses and just kind of cut them together. So kind of scissor reeled them all together to make my routine.
that
And
is
just
like that.
basically just copied that. You know what I mean? Just to see how these top guys hit these poses and just try to mirror these as best as I could. So that's how I knew my eye walk kind of almost like 12 weeks out. Um, so I was just kind of like hitting the same movements over and over, and just kind of finessing things. And then obviously the mandatories were just again things that are just kind of running through after cardio. Um, kind of one thing I noticed my kind of most which helped with my posing was just to kind of relax and enjoy the flow of the
Yeah,
movements.
yeah,
Um,
I totally get that as well. Like when you're feeling rigid, it just doesn't like flow as well. But if you're quite relaxed, I guess that comes with like the confidence of the package you're bringing and practicing the routine. You just kind of flow between each pose, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. And just the way I train as well is very much my muscle connection. It's very much full range of motion, just feeling that movement. Whatever the weight is, you can hit failure. So I feel like the mind muscle connection kind of really aided kind of the moves and the positions and posing I was hitting,
yeah,
which was super beneficial. Don't get me wrong, there's obviously things I can improve in my posing for sure. I feel like maybe if I had a coach, then maybe, I could maybe hit a few poses a bit more to my physique. But don't get me wrong, it's things to improve and that's bodybuilding, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. I think maybe now that you're a pro and there's like these little 1% discrepancies when
Mm.
everyone poses very well. Maybe I don't know, potentially something you do in the future is get a little bit of help in those things. But to be honest with you, I looked at your posing and was like, it looks very good. Like,
Right.
and your physique stands out. So I was like, yeah, I mean, you looked unbelievable in that showing. And I would say you improved between that and the next show.
Mm.
Um, Before we get on to that, I just want to talk about your peak strategy
Sure.
into the NBW. So, did anything change between doing that, like mock sort of peak for the photo shoot to that show? Because obviously you were on a bit later, or did you change anything between those two sort of times?
So nothing major. So the kind of the mock peak week, I realized that eating 500 grams of cooked potato probably wasn't a good idea to get carbs in. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I've had
so
this conversation with loads of people on it because I did exactly the same thing for
yeah,
peaking. It's like a lot of potato, yeah, good, good source of potassium and stuff as well. But I was the same, like felt very bloated
oh
after
my
that.
God.
Yeah,
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. So there's things like that during the mock peak week, which I found out not to do. Kind of just stick to rice, um, bagels as well. Well, I can seem to just digest bagels really really well, and
yeah,
not no kind of with very little bloating. Um, Things like that. Oats always sit very well with me. And yeah, just finding what sits well during that mock helped loads. So going into the NBW Classic. Just kind of stick to what I knew worked. Um, so nothing major. Just yeah, just from what I learned, I guess, from that mock and going into the NBW was kind of all I did. But yeah, like I say, because of the late showing, it did put a little bit of a spanner in the works. But kind of stuck to what I knew worked, um, and and kind of executed it accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, brilliant. You mentioned the GI stress and stuff on the later showing
mm.
as well. Like I felt exactly the same, and I don't know if it's also you're nervous the whole day, like
Yeah,
especially maybe if it's your first time competing in a while, 2 years, you always get that sort of nerves for competing again. And sometimes that gives you a bit of GI stress in itself. I imagine
100%.
it's maybe slightly different for the PCA show, and you maybe didn't quite have that sort of like gut distress.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Especially because I almost felt that my whole prep was down to the NBW,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, and the PCA was kind of just would have been like the kind of the next kind of thing to kind of tick off. So I felt kind of I was putting myself under a lot of pressure just for the MBW,
yeah,
and then a lot less for PCA. No, you're right. I think that whole stress element is such an important thing. You know,
yeah.
as you well know that can affect your physique so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So going on from that show,
Mm.
how did you feel like, weight lifted off your shoulders going into that PCA show? How were you
Yeah,
feeling going into that, and what were your kind of expectations for that show?
yeah. So yeah, coming straight off MBW, super happy. Like almost achieved what I wanted to achieve. Um, invite to Worlds. Um, amazing. Like yeah, super happy. And then kind of use PTA as almost like another kind of test to how I want to load. I actually had a few people approach me and tell me not to do the PCA show
Really? Wow.
because they feel like you'd kind of you should hold off and wait until Worlds, and if you know what I mean, because you're
Ah.
peaking too much too soon, in periods of time. I mean, at this point, I'd paid for PTA. I'd done everything I needed to do, so I was gonna run it whatever, I
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
I know how my body works as well. So like, I can load and then go straight into a depletion, and like 3.5 pounds will come off me in 3 days of all that kind of that excess carbs that I've been loading up on. That will come off me pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I did last season. I did
yeah.
four weekends back to back, and
Mhm.
didn't tend to have too many issues. It's funny because I know a lot of, was it like coaches that were kind of telling you these things, or is it just general
Yeah, yeah.
comments from people, or
Yeah, both.
both? Yeah,
Yeah, which I understand what they mean for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I was ready to kind of get the job done,
yeah, yeah,
get as many kind of as much stage time as possible,
yeah.
which I
Quite
thought
right.
was valuable.
Yeah, you looked unbelievable. I saw you in person. That was the first time I kind of saw you in person competing, and it was a
Appreciate
tough lineup you had
it.
at the PCA as well.
It was, man. Yeah, I think that was probably the toughest lineup out of all three shows for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even at Worlds, yeah, there were some really good guys at PTA.
Yeah, incredible, incredible lineup. Like I know it was, competitive. I'm trying to remember what height class were you in again?
I was in medium,
Medium, yeah.
I believe. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to
medium.
remember who you were up against, but I remember it being, quite close. I mean, you were still the standout there, but yeah, once again, would you say this was an improved look upon the sort of MBW show?
I th yeah, I think so. I think so. Obviously, it's quite difficult to tell with the tan and the lighting.
Yeah,
But
slightly different.
yeah, but I think my obliques were definitely more detailed for sure. Like if you look at the overall photo or the single side photo, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, if
that's
you compare
incredible.
that to the MBW beside it, the details on my obliques are kind of really popping through at the PTA for sure.
It's really funny. Like I don't know if it's the photos themselves from this particular stage. Is this in rugby, right?
Yes, yeah,
Because they always seem to come out a little bit like the lighting doesn't do your physique any favors either. I don't think in that sort of lighting. I think it's in particular like the reel because you look
yeah,
way sharper here than you do in that reel. But yeah, I
absolutely.
would.
I think it was the music that I think the bass was so like loud at the rugby show that
Yeah.
it was affecting the tripod.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so
I
the
saw that.
camera's
Yeah.
autofocus could never like properly focus because
Yeah.
everyone's was the same, I think.
Yeah,
One
that's
of them
right.
things, isn't it? But
I can tell you're a bit sharper here, though, just like you're around your chest in
mm,
particular as well. Again, it could be light and tan, but like more dug out around the arms, obliques sharper here.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you look. I mean, both shots you look nuts. But is that your favorite pose? That one that you hit, that side shot?
yeah, for
Or-
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's always my go-to. It's just yeah, it's just the one I can seem just really kind of engage them lats and
yeah.
shoulder width and chest and
You're seeing all that detail through your
mm,
chest as well. Yeah, brilliant. So
yeah.
PCA took the overall there. How did
Mm.
that feel after winning not a second overall? That must have been, yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it was great, especially coming in with not as much pressure on me. Um, the day went really smoothly as well. Yeah, just gave myself time just to roll into the day. The time on stage was great. It was like 3 o'clock or something, half two, three.
Yeah,
My body was just soaking in carbs like anything. Like I was waiting for my second coat of tan, and I was getting pretty hungry, and I just went back to my Airbnb and just inhaled bagels and rice, and it just sat really well.
yeah,
I just knew it was on at that point. I just like felt really good, um, and just yeah, just happy, just going into it, and yeah, just chilled backstage, hood up, trackies on. I'm always yeah, just like just to be by myself backstage, no fuss, hood
yeah,
up, no worries, music on, and just knew it was on, and yeah, super happy when I won my class. That was awesome. That was perfect. And then yeah, the overall cherry on top for sure.
awesome. And then after that, it was the big one after PCA. Was
Mm.
that a couple weeks later, or was that the week after?
No, so yeah, it was literally so the PCA Naturals was on the Saturday, World was on the following Saturday.
Following Saturday. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So we flew out, me and my family. I went my parents and brother. Yeah, who are like my go-to supporters at all my shows.
Awesome. That's
Um,
awesome.
so we flew out to the Netherlands on Wednesday, the Wednesday before Worlds. So kind of gave me a good like 3 days just to chill out, get all the food I need, do the shops, do the meal prepping, just properly chill out, to give myself time just to do everything I need to. So yeah, flew out literally 4 days after the PCA show, settled into our Airbnb, did what I needed to do, um, and yeah, the actual show was on the Saturday I was on. And yeah, it was just an unreal experience, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Unreal.
How did you manage going from that show into the next show? Did you kind of pull back down to bait? I take it maybe you had the evening off on the PCA show, maybe, or did you just get straight back to your diet and then the
Yeah,
sort of Monday back to baseline calories?
no, so yeah, after the PCA, we just went for like a Nando's,
Yeah,
with family and girlfriend, and then back on the Sunday after the PCA, yeah, straight back into a depletion.
yeah,
So there's fat loading and depletion from then. Um, and then yeah, did that for 3.5 days.
yeah,
An extra half day that I'd normally do, just to kind of split it evenly between 3.5 days fat loading, depletion, and then 3.5 days load.
Yeah.
Also lined up quite well. So I travelled out to the Netherlands Wednesday evening, so it meant that I basically finished my depletion halfway through Wednesday,
Right.
so I
Okay.
could start introducing carbs again as I was traveling,
That makes a
which was
difference.
super helpful just for just mind and just being able to travel with energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again,
Absolutely.
less stress on my body and everything.
It's quite a short flight to the Netherlands.
Mm.
But did you notice any effects from the flight at all? Any sort of water retention at all, or anything like that?
No, no, not really.
No.
My aim was just to drink 1 liter of water when I was flying. I heard
Yeah.
somewhere, I don't know where, I don't even know when, that apparently for every hour you're flying, you should kind of aim to drink 1 liter of water.
Right. Yeah.
Don't know if there's any truth to that, no science, but anyway, just stuck to wherever I heard that. I just had 1 liter of water, and like just a small meal.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, then landed and then got the hire car and quite a long day, kind of evening traveling, but yeah, no, nothing major, so that's
Cool.
fine. Yeah, and then started kind of loading from there. So the load I did was kind of more of a for the to be fair for Wales I did more of like a backload.
Right. Okay.
Kind of the highest my high day was the day before my show.
Right. Yeah.
Um, which wasn't what I did for PCA, which is more like a more of a backload. Um, kind of 2 days before stage day was the highest day, so I kind of did it
Cool.
more towards a backload because I knew my body was just burning through carbs really well.
Yeah.
Um, and that's obviously from the two for the practice peak week and the 2 peak weeks before for the PCA and NBW. I just found this information out, so I felt like I could push further for worlds,
So
and I did. So
sorry, Brad. So
that's right.
for the PCA show you did, like 2 days before the show, you did higher carb, and then maybe like more moderate on that second day before the day before the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
And then before the Worlds, did you do just the one higher day, or did you do like two sort of high days before the show?
Yeah, so I did. So between my fat load depletion, I always kind of have like a an almost high baseline carb
Yeah,
day, just to
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of get the body primed again for carbs,
yeah.
and then I can start the load from there. So yeah, so on the Thursday for Worlds was yeah, relatively high carbs, but nothing crazy. And then the day before was when I was loading up. I think
Yeah.
the day before actually I had I think about 5,500 calories.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot. I mean, I think about 900 grams of carbs.
Yeah,
So I
that's
really
similar to
pushed
what
it.
I run. Yeah, that like I've just kind of it's interesting to hear your prep because you sound like similar like body weights and stuff, and it seems very similar in terms of your loading strategies and stuff, like kind
Yeah,
of what I would do in terms of the numbers that you're mentioning.
absolutely. I think I actually listened to one of your podcasts about how you peak.
Oh,
Uh,
really? Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
and it was like one of like the cases which I was kind of referring back to as well, and a few kind of papers I read on peaking, and a few kind of reliable sources that I've found over the years,
yeah.
and they all seem to have certain things in common.
There's
And
one
that's
paper, right? They do like the two sort of a similar strategy with the fat loading and then
mm,
more baseline day and then two kind of carb loading days
yeah,
like that.
yeah. So that was all almost like my kind of my Bible going into the practice peak week. So like
Yeah.
we just kind of run what these guys are running from this knowledge, and then I can tweak based on how my body reacts, and that's basically the backbone of how I approached it.
Yeah. I think that's it. It's like I guess people do overcomplicate stuff, and really all you need to do is just think if you're lean enough, you need to get the carbs loaded in, and once they're there, and you'll be visually popping, and it's just a case of like keeping that topped up as you're kind of going into the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. You find that out during that practice peak week. I couldn't recommend that more. You know,
yeah,
I really can. It's super valuable. So because I didn't have too many off-plan meals throughout prep.
Yeah,
I
right.
kind of stuck on plan. I didn't feel like I needed any refeeds really at any point. Um, so so I couldn't really test the waters at any other point during prep. So I kind of saved it all for this practice speak week.
Yeah.
Yeah, super knowledgeable stuff, man.
It makes sense. I think like the way you've spoken about your prep is kind of how I want to run mine, similar to the fact that you did about 16 weeks, which seems like an ideal amount of time. Well, was it 16 weeks in total and from the start till the end, or is that from the start to your first show?
Yeah, so start to first show.
First show.
So MBW, yeah, 16 from first day of prep. In
Yeah.
total, it was about 20 weeks.
That's perfect, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
And just
that,
getting that start point right so you don't have to do loads of prolonged weeks. Because I think the mistake I've always made is going a bit too long on the side of like 25 to 30 weeks. And by the time
right.
you get to week 30, you're absolutely gubbed. So I think running, even if it is a bit of a pre-prep or getting your body weight so you don't have to lose a ton of weight, and just running that shorter prep of about 20 weeks
Mm.
seems like a good strategy, right?
Of course, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I don't really put on too much excess weight during off season anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
you
smart.
know, it's yeah, you I mean it's knowledge that you don't need to be excessive body fat percentage to put on muscle.
Yeah,
You really don't, as long as you got satisfied enough to keep pushing hard in the gym and do the things you need to do. You can stay relatively lean, and in the long run, it's going to help for sure.
right. Yeah. Let's have a chat about the Worlds, because obviously
Mm.
I'm guessing that's probably one of your highlights of your season there.
Oh yeah, I'm
Finishing on a high. I mean, you've had high after high after high, and then finishing with a pro card and a world title. How did that feel?
yeah, they're absolutely, yeah, bonkers. So yeah, so going into that morning, I was happy. Like the night before, I was probably the best I've looked. So I was happy going into it. Really well run as well. The whole tanning process was super chill, very professional. They're like a nice kind of space to chill out backstage. The UK, because we flew out with the UK DFBA, for Team UK, and the whole team there was super supportive. That made some like really great friends and just enjoyed the whole experience. So when I was kind of finally getting ready to kind of go on and had my meals that I needed to, and I was just so ready just to put all the final hard work in. And by this point as well, you can finesse certain things, like you can look out for like certain weak points in your tan. So I made sure that everything was perfect, tan glaze. Um, didn't pump up too early.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was crazy backstage as well because um, just the amount of nationalities there, the amount of countries, it's just absolute buzz backstage. It's awesome. So I just really ready just to go on and leave it all in. Um, and watching the bodybuilding classes the day before, that were on the Friday, yeah, it just made me even more excited. So getting on stage, just ready for it. And yeah, it's unreal. They made us work hard up there as well. We were on stage for a long time. Um, really, really long. And it was made the kind of the first call outs and then top five. So it was just us five left on stage to do our T walks. Never done a T walk before either. Just
T-walk. Is that? I'm trying to figure. I think I've done one before, but is it from the side walking along, or is it
so yeah,
slightly
so
different?
like when I walk, where you come from the back of the stage to the front and do
Yeah,
your
yeah,
posing and then leave to the left. A T walk is literally like a T. So back of the stage, you walk to the middle and
yeah.
then you hit your front relaxed, and then you walk left of stage and hit your left poses.
Yeah.
and then walk to the other side of the stage and hit your right poses,
Ah,
and then back into the middle to hit your back poses.
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite like a European thing.
Yeah,
A lot of like
yeah.
European federations do these T walks. So I'd never done one before, and I'd never been in like a big enough posing room to practice one.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
literally do an eye walk and then turn and then kind of walk on a spot and
Yeah,
then as if I'm walking and then do my left poses. So it's a bit like a bit funny kind of going into it, but no, I really enjoyed it. I was again just soaked it all in, just being on stage. It's almost like a different personality comes out when you are on stage. I
yeah,
don't know if you feel
absolutely.
it, but all that hard work, you just kind of just excitement and adrenaline just rushes through you, and when you get pumped up and you just want to just leave it all on stage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you go out there and do what you need to do. But yeah, final five. They made us work hard for our T walks as well, and then they gave the awards out, and it's between me and this Italian athlete. He was already a pro beach body or
Right, right.
fitness body
Yeah,
athlete. He had a great physique, really really wide back, tiny waist, and everyone in top five had solid midsections.
yeah,
And that's something which I now know that I need to improve quite a bit on. Going
yeah,
into my next shows is just my midsection. It needs to be more cut out compared to a lot of guys. But that's something for future, you know. So you live and learn. So, but yeah, between me and this Italian um, athlete, and yeah, just pipped him by apparently 1 point.
Oh,
So
wow. So
it
it's
was tight.
close.
Yeah, really tight. We were neck and neck going into finals, and then apparently one judge's decision went my favor, and then it made me win the world champion in that category. So that yeah, unbelievable. That was perfect. Won the pro card from that win. And then I don't know if you know, but for the INBA, they only do the overall with the open classes.
Right, okay.
So even though there's men's physique, masters, and juniors, they're not allowed to compete in the overall.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that. That's
yeah,
strange.
yeah. It's the same with bodybuilding as well.
Yeah,
So there's only two open classes in men's physique, so it was only me and one other guy in the
in
overall,
overall.
who was in the taller class. And it was me and him. And yeah, I pipped him as well at the end. I won the overall
Oh,
in men's
wow.
physique. So yeah, just surreal, surreal. Couldn't have done any better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you
Um,
couldn't have, like, honestly. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, if there's a season to go by, like, it was that one there. That was,
yeah. No, I
perfect
appreciate it.
run, straight run, a straight run. Was there an opportunity to compete at a pro show or a pro worlds there?
Yes, yeah. So I could have competed in the pro show that evening.
Yeah,
Um, I knew that was kind of a possibility, but and there was people saying that I should,
yeah,
um, but I was getting to a point where I was pretty satisfied, but also knackered, and I knew kind of peaking for the third time going on stage that day. I just didn't feel like I had the confidence to bring my best package, especially
yeah,
for your pro debut. You want to go in with the best look you've ever produced.
yeah,
I knew that there's a high chance that I wouldn't be able to do that.
yeah,
Um, and and there's obviously the fees as well that come with entering
yeah.
the pro show, which is a harsh reality of some federations,
Yeah,
which is
I
a
remember
shame,
that.
but I wasn't willing to fork out the price tag and to rush to make my pro debut. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
like I said at the start, I'm happy just to enjoy this passion and kind of have a prolonged timeline to where I want to achieve these goals because I'm in no rush. I'm
yeah,
going to be training till I'm, you know, 60 plus at the end of the day. We all are. So
yeah,
I'm in no rush to kind of get on stage. And when that is for my pro debut, is going to be, yeah, it's going to be next level. So
yeah. Because you're still quite young. You're 26, right? So you've still
yeah,
got plenty of time. Um, yeah, I'm getting on a bit, so I need to think about
Nah, don't be
getting
silly.
a competition season again under my belt. But yeah, you've still got plenty of time.
That's the plan.
Yeah, what so how was we'll touch on the post show phase because you mentioned at the beginning it has been, or off air off camera you were mentioning it has been a little bit tough, but at the same time you're feeling good back to kind of training well, etc. How has it been for you?
Yeah. Like I say, be a post show. It's always strange that first week, especially coming from a high of I'm world champion and being a pro. Um, yeah, so it's kind of a crazy kind of crash down to earth.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of love and support from friends and family, work colleagues. A lot of support from those, and a lot of kind of love being shown, which is really really nice. And yeah, just really just enjoyed hearing people um, follow my journey as well, which I never thought kind of I'd hear for certain people. So yeah, amazing. Enjoyed some lovely food out with my girlfriend, and
brilliant.
some much needed time with her and friends. Um, so yeah, much needed. But there's always that part in your mind which you feel like you're cheating when you have all these
Yeah,
normalities, and it's just that common post show mindset, isn't it? 20 weeks of of structure of everything weighed out, tracked, everything that's going into you. And it's, yeah, the sudden change is odd. You do beat yourself up for it. But you just got to remember that it's a part of the process.
yeah,
And what you've achieved, for all those sacrifices, you can let off now, and you can enjoy them
yeah,
things, and reap the rewards, because at
yeah.
the
I
end of
think
the day, it's about enjoying them moments with friends and family, and all them things that you've sacrificed. You can now enjoy them, and you've been harsh on yourself. Now you can just relax a little bit. You know.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that. I think
Mm.
that's super important to do that. It is tough. I know how tough it is to like you've been so rigid and spot on for 20 weeks plus, and then you get to relax and it's like and that kind of fades away. Like the further away you are from that last show, it kind of fades down. But did you go anywhere nice on holiday?
So not I haven't been on holiday yet.
Not
I'm
yet.
yet to go next week. I'm off to Italy.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
So yeah, carb central, but it's
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to that. So no, yeah, just the past couple of 3 weeks, it's just been because I'm based in London, just kind of going to some of our favorite restaurants and favorite bars.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, 1 week fully off the gym, so post worlds fully off the gym. Tried not to lift any weights, even though I wanted to for sure. But no, just let your body relax, fully off plan, and then yeah, week after that, I started to slowly get back into the gym.
Yeah.
Nothing major, just start moving some weight, started to try some new movements out, get the body moving, and kind of get back to some sort of kind of food normality.
Yeah.
Um, Again, nothing crazy, just listening to my body and just eating kind of the same meals I have anyway during prep or off prep. I kind of eat the same meals anyway, and just slowly started to kind of increase that and start enjoying training again. And yeah, normality's fully settled in now, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
I can look back on the achievements, and the kind of the fire's been lit even more, about making my pro debut in the future. So it's my motivation's at all time high, and I'm ready just to enjoy the gym again, and have that energy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I had like a bit of a different season from you in the sense that I was like quite close on a number of occasions, but didn't quite get what I wanted. But it's sort of a similar feeling,
Yeah,
I imagine, to yourself. Like there's still very much a fire and a passion to go back on
oh, for
stage and
sure.
actually get the result I want. And I think it just comes down to kind of your love of doing the sport and just kind of stepping on stage and loving that and
Absolutely.
enjoying it all, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And when is your next kind of goal in terms of competing? And
So originally I kind of thought maybe 2025, maybe 2026 is going to be one of those years. I think I'm leaning more towards 2026,
okay,
just because next year I'm getting married and there's going to be a lot of life stuff on. So I
absolutely.
think it makes more sense to compete in 2026. So
Okay,
that's probably going to be the goal now for me is
lovely stuff, man.
2026.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's the
come
right
back.
mindset to have. You gotta put life first. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And that's important. It's a healthy mindset to have. The stage isn't going to go anywhere. You're only going to improve at the end of the day. You know,
exactly.
having this extra time and to have the support of friends and family around you, you've got to also kind of give back and enjoy time with them and do life things. And it's important to do, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. And seeing guys like yourself, I'm like, cool. It's really lit a spark for me because I'm like, I've got areas that I need to improve, and it's like if I spend that longer time, very similar to yourself, with that mindset of more time kind of in that off season, you're going to make the improvement, especially as a natural athlete. So I'm like,
Yeah,
an extra year isn't going to do me any harm, and I'll just come back stronger in
100%.
2026. So. And I
Absolutely.
imagine, is that some sort of similar to you? You're thinking maybe 2026 for stepping back on stage?
Yes, yeah, yeah. So that's the
Yeah,
initial goal. Again, like yourself, I think next year is going to be quite a big year for myself and my girlfriend as well. Hoping to kind of look to buy our first house
brilliant.
and things. So yeah, next year is going to be quite a important year in our lives. So I think 2026 is looking to be the one. Yeah, like you say, I'm a long firm believer in taking that long off seasons, 2 years, 3 years. It's worth doing.
Yeah,
The improvements I made from my first show to this season are pretty second to none.
yeah,
So if I can make half of that improvement, I'll be over the moon. So yeah, 2026, I think. Make my pro
fabulous.
debut and go from there essentially.
So will it just be the PNBA you compete with, or have you got plans to compete with the WNBF?
So now I'm a pro with the PNBA. I'd need to stick with those
Right.
them federations,
Cool.
which is fine. It's a path which I could explore,
Yeah.
make my debut, and then there's always the option to potentially go to the Olympia as well.
Yeah. You've got the natural Olympia as well, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's that option.
Yeah.
It's a path for sure, but I have got there's obviously the other path of the WNBA. And I know the competition there does look very very appealing. So
Yeah.
it's definitely it's yeah, definitely a path which I'd like to explore in the future.
Yeah.
But for now, whilst I've got my pro status with the PNBA, let's kind of travel down that avenue and
Yeah.
see where I can go with that, and then I can pull back, give up my pro card with maybe the PNBA, and then maybe hunt for that WNBA in the future.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense to follow that route, especially if you've got the pro card there. And I imagine you're
Exactly.
interested, like the Natural Olympia, that's usually in the States as well. So it's
Mhm.
another opportunity to travel and compete abroad, which I imagine from that experience in Netherlands is something you want to do again as
Exactly.
well. Because I competed in Dubai and it was unbelievable, you know.
Wow.
So it was such an experience.
That was your last show, right?
That was my first show of last season.
Okay, of
I
course,
did
yeah.
I did the WNBF Worlds in Vegas as well, which was brilliant in itself. So yeah, like I love doing the shows abroad because it's
Mm,
just you get to meet sort of different people, different cultures, and it's interesting to see like the different strategies from different people from other countries as well.
of
So
course.
yeah, that's why I love it.
Yeah, it really shows how different nationalities view bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It's fascinating for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, that sounds like a plan. Absolutely. Before we finish up, do you have any tips for like first time competitors?
Yeah, it's first timers. I feel just learn as much as you can from the process. Um, if you're if you want to compete, you want to kind of learn more about your body, learn about the process, and learn kind of what it takes to be an athlete and reach these limits of your body. So I feel like just try and take in as much information as possible, learn about the process, enjoy the process, um, and and just kind of push yourself in ways that you haven't pushed yourself, but enjoy that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just kind of just try not to stress out and just enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess
totally.
is the main thing. Especially with the amount of information out there now, I think you can really kind of get yourself um, into a good situation and just do the basics very well. And before you know it, you can you're 80% of the way there.
There's
Um,
so much information available
mm,
now. Like I remember when I was starting to get into this, there wasn't the widespread availability of information. Now, you've got big platforms, big can be confusing at times because there's a lot, but you're quite
that's the
right
only
in
issue.
saying,
Yeah,
yeah, but you're quite right in saying just stick to the basics and just do the basics well because
exactly.
that's taking you 80% of the way anyway.
100%, 100%,
Yeah,
and make sure you're competing for the right reasons as well.
totally. Yeah.
You know, it's you want to be competing because you enjoy bodybuilding and you want to you know show your physique and show your passion towards that sport. Don't feel like it's a move you've got to make to reach some sort of goal within your career or goal within your business. Just make sure you're kind of doing it for the right reasons, and the process will be much smoother.
Yeah.
Because your self will is going to pull you through it.
Way more enjoyable that way as
Mm.
well. Less less stressful if you're
A
doing
hundred
it for the
percent,
right
man. Yeah,
reasons.
a
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Awesome, Brad. I always finish with this question. You might have heard the question before if you've listened to the podcast, but what are your biggest life lessons from bodybuilding? I guess you maybe answered some throughout this podcast episode.
Yeah, life lessons. Yeah, just you realize kind of your support bubble, and who kind of really kind of sticks by you through some of them tough times. Even those that don't really understand the sport, you realize who kind of asks the right questions, who kind of stands by you, and who kind of like can almost let off and just kind of give you your space.
Yeah.
And that's a huge life lesson, and something you can always take on.
Yeah, I've never had that answer, and
Mm,
that's actually a really, really good point. And something I've learned myself from bodybuilding.
absolutely, man. Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
that's
don't get me wrong, but bodybuilding, you can. It's so easy to get caught up in it to a point where you kind of start neglecting certain things in your life, but it also um, kind of highlights how strong certain things are as well.
yeah,
Um, Even people in certain situations where you know they might not understand much about bodybuilding, but the fact that they're still there with you supporting shows it all.
yeah, totally. I totally resonate with that. And I know the people who've been there for me as well throughout, a tough time. And as we mentioned in this podcast episode, it's important to kind of give back as well and show your love and support and
Absolutely,
appreciation
man.
when the time comes post show.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I
Yeah,
think it's super important, super
yeah,
important, and also just remember that you know you're putting yourself through this prep, and it's your decision. So no one's making you do any of this. You're there, you're on this journey. So kind of enjoy it, and if even through the pain, just to kind of smile through the pain almost and enjoy the outcomes.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Brad, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Where can the
Well, thank you,
listeners
mate.
go and follow you on Instagram or
Uh,
any other platforms that you use?
yeah. So you're more welcome to follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just Brad.Cocksedge. You'll be able to find me on there. I'm starting to post a bit more bodybuilding content now. I never used to.
Yeah.
Um, I used to kind of just be awful at posting anything on Instagram, full stop. So, but yeah, posting a little bit more on there now. So definitely go and check out my journey and what I do. I'm also a full-time visual effects artist as well, so
Oh,
you
awesome.
might be able to see my work and things on there as well. But yeah, mostly lifestyle stuff as well. So all
Yeah, I've
sort of
seen your Instagram. It's like a lot of like cool lifestyle stuff as well.
yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, with a bit of bodybuilding sprinkled in there. But yeah, maybe a little bit more bodybuilding in future, as I kind of realize that there is a platform out there for me. So yeah, just enjoying the journey for the off season. So
yeah.
yeah, follow me on there. That's mostly what I use, if anything. So
Brilliant. I'll link that down below as well so
legend.
listeners
Cheers,
can
man.
go and check you out. But thanks once again, Brad. Thanks
No,
once
pleasure,
again,
mate. Thank
guys,
you.
for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode.